Hello, everyone. Just finished doing some writing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my life. I don't have a lot of time this morning because I have a chat scheduled with somebody in about 7 minutes, but I figured I had a few minutes, so I would chat a little bit, tell you a little bit about my life and how I got to where I'm at. I'm probably not going to cover everything, obviously, but that just means I can do more videos at another point. So, what would be relevant to start with? I could start with the beginning, I could start with the end, or I could start in the middle somewhere. But let me start with this point, firstly, which is that my entire life, up to relatively recently, let's say, has been making excuses, living as excuses, making excuses for why the things in my life are the way they are, making excuses for why other people's lives are the way they are, making excuses for why the world is the way it is, and giving myself an excuse to not really look at why the world is the way it is, giving myself an excuse. And for much of my life, I would say at least the first 20, 21, 22 years, I was so consumed within my own idea of myself and my own uh, obliviousness that I had no idea there was really a world outside of myself. And that was my excuse. I didn't even realize I was making an excuse. I was living the excuse. And around 21, 22 years of age, that started to change because I started to question what it was I was living, what was the life I was living, why I was doing the things I was doing, why do I value the things I value? And then as I started to question that, my life started to fall apart. And then I started to realize that, oh shit, I have a problem here. I have a problem because now I'm not able to just focus on myself anymore. And yet I didn't fully realize that at the time because my solution to my life not seeming to work was to go more into myself as trying to make myself happy. And that caused things to compound and accelerate and get even worse. So I don't know if you can relate to that. I'm keeping it kind of general at the moment so that you can perhaps relate, because the details of my life you may not be able to relate to. Some people would, some people wouldn't. But the details is what's relevant to me. You know, they say the devil is in the details. The details are very important. However, I'm just giving you a more general picture that perhaps you can relate to, because, you know, everyone I talk to is in basically, I would say, one of three positions. Well, let's say four. One, they are so stuck in trying to survive all the time. They have no opportunity to ever look at anything else other than just where they're at physically, like going to work and so forth. And they're really not happy and they know it. And then you have people who are stuck in the pattern of survival and they're just trying to convince themselves that they're happy. So they're not really being honest about it, and they'll present themselves as happy. And then you have at the very top, so I'm skipping one step, at the very top, you have those who are really having pretty good lives. Like, you know, we're talking about the top 1% of the top 1%. They're having pretty good lives. And they have no reason to do anything differently. That doesn't mean they're completely happy, but they have everything they could possibly ever want, and they just want more. I'm not saying they're totally happy, but they have enough things where it's like they don't really need to question anything. But then in between them and the people who are pretending to be happy, but their lives really aren't working, you have the people whose lives aren't working and they know it, and they know they're not happy, and they have the time and space to do something about it. And if you're watching this video right now, Guess what that means? You're one of those people, whether you realize it right this moment or not. Because otherwise, why are you watching this video? Why are you listening to me? And when I say listening, I don't mean following. I just mean like, why are you listening to me? Why are you watching me? I would venture to guess that there's a point within you that knows that things are not right in this world. Things are not right in your life. That doesn't mean everything is totally not working. Some things are, but some things aren't. Or you recognize that even though things might sort of be stable in your life currently, you can see that things aren't totally stable in this world. And you may even be able to see that they're not going to get better. They're actually going to get worse. And this is what I meant by living a large part of my life making excuses, because many people would hear what I'm saying and they would immediately make an excuse. They would say, well, the world's fine. Like, yes, it's not fine. It's falling apart, but there's nothing I can do about it because that's for God to sort out. So what we've done is we've created this idea of something called God that is all powerful. I can't change God. I can't do anything about God. I can't make him do something. I can pray, but it's whatever he decides. So I'm not in control of that. So therefore, now I don't have to be in control of anything in the world because God's in control. It's like the ultimate excuse. So what are the excuses that we make in our lives right now, currently, to not live our potential? Our potential to actually be the very best that we can possibly be. And it's interesting because in the system we live in, everything is so based on survival and fear of survival, and therefore consumerism, that we define being our best and living as our potential within the context of getting more stuff, but not questioning the fact that we have a system based on inequality, where the more we try to get, the more someone else doesn't have. You know, do you realize that we live in a system where there can only be a top 1%? There can't be a 100% in this current system. So you're never going to be in that position. So you might as well stop playing that game and start considering. That doesn't mean you just go and live in the wilderness and don't use money. That's not practical. What I'm saying is the game in your head of trying to get to something where you think you'll be happy. But the question is, when you get there, what will you do differently? Will you stand up and make a difference in this world, or will you just get in that position and you just want all the nice stuff and fuck anybody else? Who cares what happens to anybody else? Because that's the attitude you have to take currently to get there. Or is there another way? Is there a way where we can stand together and solve problems in this world that need to be solved, and at the same time place ourselves into a position like the 1% where we can then make a difference? I would suggest, if you're watching this video and you're hearing what I'm saying, and there's that point within you that recognizes things are problematic in this world and in your life perhaps, that you're never going to be successful unless you dedicate yourself to what is best for all, unless you dedicate yourself to creating a system that's best. It's the only way you're ever going to actually experience real success in this world. And if you don't know how to do that, then that's why we should connect. We should talk. Because I'm clear about what I'm doing and the people that I work with and what we're doing to make this world a better place. That doesn't mean us alone are just going to solve all the problems. But I'm saying, what if you could solve real problems that would move the world towards being better, and at the same time place yourself in a position where we can then actually solve the problems? Because all the problems that exist are due to the laws that exist around how money works, how business works, the fact that you have to pursue profit at all costs. You know, it's all based on the laws, because that's the written word. That's the actual written word. That is our collective agreement. Whether you know the laws or not, that is our collective agreement. And unless those things change, doesn't matter what kind of activism you participate in, it's not going to change. Okay, so something to consider for today. I'm obviously going to have to continue with the story of my life, because this is just the very beginning. And I have a meeting that's coming up right now. So place a comment if you found that useful, and share the video, and share some comments if you would about your life and where you see yourself at, and what's your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing, and are you questioning things? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? And I would challenge you to even perhaps make a video talking about the story of your life, because I'm going to continue doing that too. All right, see you guys later. Bye.